35-year-old Indian nurse in Yemen, Nimisha Priya's death sentence has been upheld by the Supreme Judicial Council in Yemen, country's highest court of appeal. Nimisha has been convicted of murdering her sponsor. However, her petitions have claimed that she was physically, financially tortured and her passport was wrongfully confiscated by her sponsor. She tried to retrieve her passport by giving him a sedative, is what she has claimed in her petition, which emerged to be an overdose. There is a forum comprising of politicians, businessmen, activists, diaspora leaders, mostly from Kerala, that are seeking justice for 39-year-old Nimisha Priya, that has now also filed a petition for Nimisha's mother to travel in a Delhi court to travel to Yemen. Now, the court has asked Centre to look into the plea. I'm being joined right now by Mr. Subhash Chandran. He is Nimisha Priya's mother's lawyer. He's the one who is petitioned for this case in Delhi court. But not just that, he's also part of the forum which is fighting for justice for Nimisha Priya. Thank you very much, Mr. Subhash, for joining us.
Hi, good evening.
Mr. Subhash, first question. You filed the case of Nimisha's mother in the court. The court has asked the centre to look into the petition. What is the petition and why has the mother filed this petition? Please explain.
Yes, Neha, this is the second writ petition filed by Nimisha's mother, and first petition was filed by the same Nimisha Priya International Action Council, and the court has given a order on 15th of March 2022. In the first petition which we filed before Delhi High Court, Honorable Delhi High Court, we sought the permission from the government of India to travel to Yemen. Actually, there is a travel ban since 2016 to Yemen. The Indian citizens cannot visit Yemen without the permission of Indian government. So that's why now we have only one option to save Nimisha's life, that is the blood money negotiation with the victim's family. And in this scenario, when the travel ban is there, we are unable to reach out to the victim's family for the blood money negotiation, which is defeating the human rights of Miss Nimisha Priya.
Right. Let me just take a second and interrupt you to explain to our viewers what is blood money. Blood money is basically the compensation that would be decided by the victim's family as a compensation for the crime that was conducted. So in this particular case, Mr. Subhash, what are the circumstances where the mother is right now? What kind of a background does she come in? Does she have the financial ability to go ahead and file cases?
No, actually, she belongs to a very poor family. Nimisha is from a very poor background, and she was working as a healthcare worker, nurse in Yemen. And in 2016, this unfortunate incident had happened. In 2017, in fact, in 2017, this unfortunate incident had happened. Actually, she was working there for a quite long time. And in 2016, the internal conflict has started in there. And her husband, Nimisha's husband, and the one-year-old child traveled to India. And she was alone there. And thereafter, the victim, her sponsors started abusing her, torturing her physically, financially, and all these things.
And even confiscated her passport.
Her passport was confiscated by the sponsor. So, and she was unable to escape herself from there. And just to save her life from there, she tried to sedate her to get her passport. And it was an overdose, and unfortunately he died. Mr. Talal Muhammad died, and this was the case. And that is the time of the internal conflict in Yemen. And she didn't get a proper legal defense there. There was the city where she was trialed is Sana'a, which was under the control of the Houthis, the rebels in Yemen. So right. There was proper legal system.
Right, Mr. Subhash. We'll just get to what really the petitions are in terms of what is the forum expecting, what are the key points that they are putting out. But let me also just draw parallel to what the circumstances of Nimisha's mother has been. Is she somebody who's working? Does she have the financial means to go to Yemen, to fight for justice for her daughter, to negotiate blood money? What is the background of Nimisha's mother or the family?
In fact, Nimisha's mother is working as a domestic worker in one family in Cochin. She sold her property, she sold her everything for fighting the case for Nimisha, and now she is working. She is in the living with a Malayali family there in Cochin, and she is helping them to means live her to do her livelihood. So this is the situation, and when we came to know about this in 2020 in September, we some activists, the diaspora leaders, the businessmen started a Save Nimisha Priya International Action Council to save her life because she was denied by the access to justice, and in fact she is a victim of war. There was an internal conflict in Yemen, and she couldn't get a proper legal defense there. So now we are
So
fighting
what
for
are the
her
main
justice.
points? The Save Nimisha Forum, Nimisha Priya Forum, that is fighting for justice for Nimisha Priya. There are so many people, whether it be politicians, businessmen, activists, the people, the diaspora, those who belong to Kerala. So many are part of that forum. At least 100 people are fighting for justice for Nimisha Priya. What are their primary demands at this point?
Yeah, the main patrons are like Justice Kurian Joseph is there, the MLA, the MPs, and very prominent businessmen like M.A. Yusuf Ali has offered his assistance to this same Nimisha Priya International Action Council. So many are there to help us for getting the justice to Nimisha Priya.
Right.
So now we are trying to explore the possibility of the blood money. The prevailing law in Yemen is the Sharia law, and there is a provision for the blood money negotiations in Sharia law, under Sharia law. So now we are trying to explore the possibility of the blood money. But for that, we will have to reach out to the victim's family, and the victim's family will have to accept the blood money, and they will have to pardon her. Then only her life will be saved. But in the current situation,
And for
we
this,
are unable to
Priya's
reach out.
mother has to reach Yemen, has to be able to get in touch
Yeah,
with the victim's family.
exactly. The Priya's family or the relatives or the Indian government has to do this. Now, the Indian government, we are requesting the Indian government to do the negotiation, but they are reluctant to do, unfortunately. So we are taking that. We are seeking the help from the Union of India, the Indian government. Only the Indian government can facilitate.
Right.
They can. So considering the political situation in Yemen, the Indian government is the appropriate authority to do the negotiations, and we are humbly requesting, we are seeking the help from the Indian government, the Ministry of External Affairs, to do the negotiation, and we are ready to pay the amount, the blood money, whichever is agreed by the victim's family. We are not asking the government to pay that. We are ready to raise the
All
fund.
right.
But we need the help from the Indian government for the blood money negotiation with the victim's family.
Right.
So
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Advocate Subhash Chandran, for joining us on this extremely sensitive issue.